We recruited mentality. It wasn't just size and stature and status or where they came from. It was a mentality that they displayed on the field. It was a mentality that we spoke about when they came in to be recruited with their mothers and some with their fathers. All of those young men, they have that mentality, even some of the ones that we held over. Because anybody that didn't have it, we got rid of them.
Sounds like a good, reasonable strategy, right? When you're building a football team, or even if you're building a business, a company, it is important to recruit people that share your values. It's important to recruit people that share your mentality. When Sean Payton was in New Orleans, he was well known for cutting players who did not share his mentality. Sean Payton did not want anyone in his locker room who was refusing to buy in. So, this recruiting strategy with Deion Sanders, it's smart. However, mentality is only half the battle. If you have 70, 80 players who share your mentality, but their average weight is 170 pounds, in a sport like football where size is extremely important, that sounds like a recipe for disaster. That is a recipe for another embarrassing losing season for Deion Sanders. Over the weekend, the Colorado Buffaloes put a clip from one of their practices on social media. Now, I'm going to remove the audio because they have music playing in the background, but I want to see if you notice the same thing that I noticed. Check it out for yourself. Initially, I thought Colorado was sharing a clip from an open practice. Maybe they invited the local Pee Wee team to their practice field. But I have double and triple checked this. I wanted to make sure also that it wasn't AI. I can tell you with 100% certainty, this is real. This is the roster that Deion Sanders has assembled in Colorado. A roster that looks to be filled with mini-me's. Hell, I have seen action figures larger than some of these players. This is the roster that Deion Sanders has assembled to compete in a Power 5 conference. This is the roster he has put together to potentially save his damn job in Colorado? You know, when Deion Sanders arrived in Colorado back in 2023, he brought mainstream attention and awareness to a program that had been irrelevant since I was growing up in the 90s. In terms of football, Colorado was the drizzling shits. If your team, your program put Colorado on the schedule, you were scheduling an automatic win. It was no different than scheduling McNeese State or Wiener Tech. When Deion Sanders arrived, he brought instant credibility to the program. Problem is, a lot of it was an illusion. Outside of the 2024 season, which was the best season in Deion Sanders' coaching career, a season that ended in a loss in the Alamo Bowl. Just think about that. Your biggest accomplishment as a coach is losing in the meaningless Alamo Bowl. If you remove that season, Deion Sanders is 7-17 at Colorado. Even with the 2024 season included, Deion Sanders is 16-21. If this were any other coach at any other program, Deion Sanders would be coaching for his job this season. Now, whether or not that's the case at Colorado, I don't know. Like the rest of America, I don't follow the Colorado program closely. Once the circus ended, once mainstream celebrities stopped showing up because Colorado was getting their ass kicked every week, Uncle KC quit paying attention to Colorado. Whether or not Deion Sanders is coaching for his job, I don't know. But going into year 4, I would imagine the pressure is on. Deion Sanders needs to have a winning season at minimum. And based on the clips I am seeing, his team is microscopic. I mean, they are tiny. Now, in his defense, Deion Sanders knows a hell of a lot more about football than I do. It is entirely possible, maybe even likely, Deion Sanders actually knows what he is doing. And look, I like Deion Sanders. I want him to succeed. But he reminds me a lot of Sean Payton because Deion Sanders, he always seems to be trying to reinvent the wheel. He comes in, he builds his entire roster through the transfer portal, doesn't work. He turns Colorado football games into a celebrity circus, doesn't work. Now, he appears to be building a peewee roster. The difference, though, between Deion Sanders and Sean Payton was trying to outsmart the room after he had achieved success. First year in New Orleans, Saints go to the NFC Championship game, obviously 2009 Super Bowl. Once he got later into his tenure in New Orleans, Sean Payton was given the benefit of the doubt because he had earned it. And to his credit, sometimes what he was doing worked, other times it didn't, but he was and always will be a made man in New Orleans. Sean Payton could get away with it. Deion Sanders, I don't think he's there yet. Colorado has 18 players weighing 170 pounds or less. They have a wide receiver that is 5'9", 155 pounds. 3 defensive ends, less than 235 pounds. Deion Sanders is potentially risking his career on a roster that would be considered small at the high school level. If it doesn't work, if this is another season of huge embarrassing failure, will Deion Sanders keep his job? Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.